Alright YouTube, it's been a while since I made a video, so I thought I'd make one on my 92 Silverado carrier bearing. You can see I blew this out today, completely blew it out. Hardly anything even holding in but the ring around it. Already started pulling these straps on the U-joint here. 7/16 bolt, just pull them off, 7/16 socket or whatever, and then you gotta get a screwdriver, pry these out, and I'll wrap electrical tape around it. Got the drive shaft, the front of the drive shaft out. Then you gotta pull the 2 bolts on the carrier bearing, 15mm, and then after that you gotta pull the 4 bolts on the rear U-joint on the rear axle. So I'm going to do that and I'll get back to you again. And those rear axle U-joint bolts are 7/16 also. So I got the drive shaft out completely, and I will show you how this comes out. This drive shaft here, the front piece, comes out of this piece. I normally use a different technique than I've seen people use, so I will show you that. Alright, so this is a really rigged way of doing this, but this is how I've always done it. So this is a wood clamp, and normally you'd clamp in, you'd push 2 pieces of wood together. Okay, so what I got here is when you push this way, this piece here, it automatically slides. It locks when you go this way. So you got to put a clamp or something here. Okay, so then over here, you just keep loosening this up. Oh, no, it fell off, but you keep loosening this up until it pulls the 2 pieces apart. And right here, the drive shaft's rolling away on me. And you can see right there, the splines are starting to come through. So I'll show you it when I get it out completely. Just like that. This piece with the splines slides out of here with the splines inside of it. Okay, so then you can take this and slide this off. And then we got to battle with this. Last time I did this, I took a grinder and cut. I'm going to try and just whack it with the chisel here, see if it'll come off. If not, I'm going to have to go get a grinder and cut this off. Cut a slit in it, spread it apart with a little bit with the chisel, and then pound it off. So I'll get back to you once I start working. Now you can see that this has slid off that much right there. It depends on how long your bearing has been on your truck, and in my case it hasn't been that long. I don't know why this one blew out. I don't know if it was just a bad bearing or what, but what I did is I just took this punch right here and just wailed on it with a hammer, spun it around a little bit, hit it again. If yours has been on here for a long time, you're probably gonna have to cut right down it, but mine's only been on for a couple months, so I was able to just chisel it off. So I'll get back to you once I get this one off and I'm putting So I got my new bearing here, and here's the old one. If you can tell, this one spins around nice and this one has nothing in it at all. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna take some of this anti-seize, and not a sponsorship. I'm gonna put it right on here. I'm going to clean this up a little bit with sandpaper. I nicked it a couple times with the chisel. You got to kind of be careful of that. But I'm going to put it on here with clean up with sandpaper and then a little bit of anti-seize, just so that next time it's not as pain in the butt to get off. It's not going to get in there too well, but it'll help a little bit. So I'm going to do that, clean it up. I'll get back to you once I get this one back. So what I got going here, this is a piece of 2-inch galvanized. You could use black iron, you could use tubing for like frame, you could use really anything. Anything that fits over this, okay? And then pounding on the end of this to pound that in. You're gonna wanna alternate sides, go around. I would get a piece of wood, but a piece of wood is probably just gonna break through and bust into pieces. So I cut it long so that I have room to push it on. You just gotta make sure that when you get further down there, that it does not go on there, because if you get it on there, it's gonna be a pain in the butt to get back off. So it does feel like it's a little bigger than this bearing race that was on there. So I'm gonna pound it on there. We'll see how it looks. Just like that. New one is on there. You can see spins nice and easy. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into the truck, paint some of the spots where this is sitting so that they don't rust out. And then I'll show you from there. I put anti-seize on all the bolts. Well, actually, first off, I gotta put this back together. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean this end of this, just to get all the dirt and crap off that got on there when I was working on it. And then we gotta push it back into there, and I'll show you how to do that. So I don't have a grease gun, so I just shoved some grease in there. There's a grease zerk right here you can grease this with. And on this, if you look, there's a spot here that has a wider spline than all the other spots. So you look in here, and you need to find the one that has a wider spline, and then you got to push it in there. I'll show you how to do that also. I just wanted to let you know how this will fit in there. All right, guys. So what you do is you got to feel around in here until you find the spot that has a flat spot. Mine was a little, the grease zerk's right here. It was probably 90 degrees, a little more than 90 degrees off from the grease zerk. And then push it up against something. And then you just give it a good push. And it'll pop right in, just like that. Now your drive shaft's ready to go back in. And ready to go. Oh, yep, okay. Slide it past the cross armor in the front here. Slide it way past it. Get it up on top. Slide it there and take a break. And then you're gonna slide it all the way until it's about where it needs to be. Right about there. And then you're gonna wanna grab your 7/16 8ICs on both the bolts. I'm gonna slide them in the top. Then a washer and a nut. Just like that. Same with the other side. And again, U-bolts are 7/16. Or not U-bolts, but U-joint strap bolts are 7/16. These are 15 millimeter. Right. So when I say measure, what I mean is going to this side of the frame rail, 17.5. Go to this side of the frame rail, and we're looking at 20.5. So then you gotta think, is your transmission off? So I'm gonna measure that. I'm gonna measure everything and see what the center would be about of this drive. This side of the frame rail here, right on the inside of the frame rail there, to the center of the transmission, the output shaft. And right here, I got 21.25, and you can see it's pretty dang close to being lined up perfectly. So we're gonna tighten it down right there, and I'll show you where to go from there. And then we're gonna put NICs on the bolts and everything, and tighten them all up real tight. I got these tightened up here on the carrier bearing, and then the back ones there, we gotta go back and tighten up again. Got that all done. We're going to work on this front U-joint here. So exactly like I said before, you're gonna tap these in. Most people won't have problems doing this, but the way mine is, the clearance is real tight on these U-joints. So sometimes I gotta tap them in, and then we're gonna put NICs on the bolts and everything, and tighten them all up real tight. I got these tightened up here on the carrier bearing, and then the back ones there, we gotta go back and tighten up again. So, I got everything done. Now after you get everything tightened, you gotta go back through and make sure it's all real tight again, just to make sure. So I'm gonna do what I do. So now we're gonna go for a test drive. We're gonna see how it goes.